Alright, so this is going to be the last little video that I go through right now, and I'm going to clean up this patch because it was kind of gross. So this one is going to be all about the new object little window here, and I'm going to actually zoom in just so it's a bit bigger on the screen. There it is. So to make a new object, you can just hit the in for new key, and it will throw up this blank object box wherever your mouse is. Pretty much all of the main things in here have a keyboard binding, and you can see just by hovering over them what that key is. So again, in for new object, I for integer, F for float, C for comment, M for message, S for slider. You see there's a lot of handy objects just right there at your keyboard. So to use this though, once this pops up, you can just type in the name of the object that you want. I'm going to pull up that cycle tilde again. Right here, and again, there is a menu of different things here. It's going to start with what it thinks the one you want is at the top, and then very similar ones after it. So if you use cycle a lot, it's going to put that at the top when you start typing in, C. Well, cycle's at the top, but there's a whole bunch of other stuff with C in here. So this is what it thinks you're more likely to use. So we're going to put that there. So what cycle does is it outputs a sine wave, just for audio. And I've mentioned it a few times, but if you hit the space bar after the name of the object, you get a few things here. So at first you have arguments, and these are, if you're into programming, that's probably going to sound a bit familiar, but these are essentially values that you can put into the object in order to make it behave a certain way right at the beginning. The first one is probably the most common one you'll use with cycle, and that is just the frequency that you want it to output. So I'm just going to say, let's 500 hertz. We got that there. If we go down here into attributes, these are a little bit different. This is more about like properties of the object. So, you can set these use the ampersand in front of them. So if I said like at buffer, and then I put in a buffer name, I don't have a buffer loaded up, but you can set that up in order to load in specific buffers into this. I very rarely use that, but some objects you can create attributes like that. But if I said cycle 500, it loads up. If you type in something that doesn't work, I always do that. I always forget the new object. This isn't an object. It's going to be lit up orange, and you're actually going to get a thing here that just says no such object in the console. So that if you see that, then at some point you've mistyped something, or you don't have a library loaded and you're having some kind of problem. Basically, Max just doesn't have this object in its library. So at the top of these objects are inputs, and at the bottom are outputs. So you can send specific values here in order to control your objects. So if I had this one right here, and we just connected it up, turned on audio, you can see the value of the wave. It's actually not quite what I wanted, but you can see that it's sending data out. So that's super handy. If we created an audio output, that was way louder than I was expecting it to be. Again, it's pumping out audio at 500 hertz. Right there. Again, you can see how you can very easily have volume issues connecting stuff, playing it around. I'm usually a little bit better about that, but no one is immune. In fact, I'm going to add a gain slider in the middle of that. That was not what I wanted to... That's what I wanted to do, just reinitialize that. So here, if we start that up, bring this up a bit. There, we can control the volume of this, although now it seems extra quiet. Anyways, but you can control the volume there. But if you wanted to control the pitch, you could just send a number into this. And now we can set the frequency. So maybe I want this to be 600. Hit that in there, and now... you can control how this behaves just by sending in data. And if you have the patch unlocked, hover over the top, it will actually tell you what it expects. So this is for the frequency. You can see that it's expecting either a signal or a float, or an integer works as well, and that's what it will control. When it's red like this, this is kind of like a hot input, so changes will be applied immediately there. If it's a blue input, like on a message box here, that's like a cold input. So you see it sets the message without an output. So you can set a message, but if you sent it to this first one, it will trigger a message or change it and immediately output it out the bottom. And again, the yellow here, that is an output. I'm going to turn that off. So again, you can hover over the inlets and outlets to see what they are. So if I wanted to play around with the phase, I could, with a value between 0 and 1 as a signal or from a number. If I hover over here, there's the signal output, and you see the signals have this kind of dashed line here. However, over here we get a signal input, and then a signal output after the gain stage. Over here, you can output the value as a number. So if I play around with that, there's the value of the slider as a number. So that's kind of the bulk of being able to load in an object and have some basic control, some basic patching. Again, whenever you make it, make a new object, I'm gonna throw in, let's throw in a try. This is, again, another oscillator. Actually, let's not do an oscillator. Let's play around with some stuff. I'll load in a filter. Load that up. You'll see that it has a lot more inlets and a single outlet. Again, this is the filtered output, but you can control, there's the signal to filter, different controls for it. They're all labeled. It's nice and handy. You got that there. When you type in the object, if you hit the space bar after it, you can then set specific arguments. So the first, basically in order, so the max delay, if I wanted the max delay to be 100 milliseconds, you set that there. The initial delay to be 10 milliseconds. The gain coefficient, we can have 1, feed forward, 1, I don't know, 0.5. So you could set all of that up, and I've essentially initialized this object with specific values for each of these inputs already. And you can change them after the fact by sending values to these inputs, and then, you know, it's going to output whatever the end version of it is. So that's the core of what we've got going on there. So that's going to be my last video for now. Again, we'll be talking about this in class. There's probably going to be a little bit more in-depth discussion there, but these are the core things to start with. So hope this is helpful. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in class. Bye.